Today on the grid, we are talking about photographers getting ripped off. We have a very special guest, tech writer, guitarist supreme, and just generally awesome guy. Jefferson Graham is joining us. Also, he's a real man. He's a can of ham. He drives a Dodge Ram. He has a Florida tan. He eats bran. He's from Curve Like a Stan. The real rocket man, Erik Kuna, is here. We've got some sweet, sweet giveaways, and it all starts in just 30 seconds.
The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Okay. I'll just
Hey,
make believe
everybody.
I'm seeing
Welcome. Welcome to another live episode. Scott Kelby here, and joining me, as always, the real rocket man. Not that rocket man you hear about on TV. The real rocket man, Erik Kuna, is here. Mr. K.
Well, hey, Scott. How's it going?
Well, it's going the same way it was when you talked to me in the car a few
Yeah,
minutes ago.
right.
It hasn't changed a whole lot.
It's going great.
All right. Well, okay, Mr. K.
Yeah.
So we have a very interesting show for you today.
Interesting topic. Interesting guest.
Interesting topic. We have a very interesting guest. He's been on the show before, and you may know him from his Kelby 1 classes or from his tech column. He's a renowned tech writer, and he's an incredibly great guitar player. And I always liked Jefferson. I met him there he is, Jefferson Graham, right there. So do you remember the first time we met, Jeff? Do you remember?
Lightroom.
Yeah, my first Lightroom seminar ever. It was in Los Angeles. I had a massive crowd, and Jefferson was there, and he was with USA Today at the time. And he wanted to interview with me about this Lightroom and all this stuff. And so we had lunch together.
Lightroom thing.
And I couldn't get the whole thing done at lunch, so that we had dinner together. And so I've known him for many, many years. And now he's a Kelby 1 instructor. But when I fell in love with him was one day I didn't realize he was such a great guitar player. And he put a video like on Twitter of him playing, I think it was the Flintstones theme.
Yeah.
But it was done like you do it if you were at the Berklee School of Music. It was all these lush jazz chords and stuff. And he's like, "What song is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's the Flintstones theme." Done like a boss. I'm like, this guy's like an onion. Every time you peel, there's another level of cool stuff that he does. So anyway, I'm a big fan. We're very happy to have you today. And for those of you who watch the Grid all the time, we talked about Jefferson last week because he got ripped off in the middle of a live shoot. I'm going to let him tell the story. But we got some topics all around that today is about getting ripped off and how not to get ripped off. Photographers are getting
some tips, some tricks, some stories.
Yeah, and
I
I got an interesting story that happened this weekend too. Not to me, thankfully, because it's a bad story. But I want to kick things off. We got a couple of little housekeeping things to do, and then I want Jefferson to tell you his story because I've read parts of it, but I want to hear it like straight from the source. So we've got giveaways today, as we always do, and I have no idea what they are, but I'm sure they're good stuff.
Oh yeah, we got giveaways. We got a Platypod Ultra. We're giving away a Platypod Ultra. Then we have your iPhone photography book.
Hey, here it is right here. Yeah.
Boom.
iPhone
and
photography.
Then we also have Boris FX Optics. We're giving that away. So plug in for Photoshop and Lightroom. So there you go.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff.
Yeah.
We have good giveaways on this show.
Oh yeah.
All right. So let's see what else is going on. There was something else that I wanted to do. Oh,
we got a big conference coming up. We can talk about that. It's actually you got hundreds and hundreds and hopefully soon thousands.
Yeah, I can't believe how many people are signing up for this conference. So this is the iPhone Photography Conference. It's coming up at the end of this month, and it's going to be awesome. We have an incredible roster of photographers, and so is that Jefferson Graham? Look at that!
Yeah.
Look at that! So. Anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be. And look, we got Austin Mann in there. He's like one of the most famous iPhone photographers ever.
Yeah,
people
did the shot on iPhone original one.
Yeah, he also did. I saw a picture of him standing next to his 25-story poster in Los Angeles that he took with the iPhone. So he does projects for Apple.
Yeah.
So that was one of the projects he did.
And look right above Russell Brown, which if you want to learn some crazy stuff to do with your iPhone.
He does that other stuff that you would never think.
He does the otherworldly, like that stuff I dream about.
Yeah, and you got Brian O'Neill Hughes, and Brian is like the mobile post-processing evangelist for Adobe. So he's not. That's not his official title because he's bigger than that. But he is like really taking up the mantle of I'm going to be one of the guys at Adobe that's strictly dedicated to Lightroom Mobile, and he's really good at it and all. And anyway, we've got a wonderful cast of instructors, and we hope that you will join us. It's 20 sessions.
I'm excited for it because
I am too.
It seriously is. I was just talking about it. Like my favorite camera. Like people ask me, "What's my favorite camera?" I say it's my iPhone. It absolutely is.
And all the photos that you're looking at on this page, they're all taken with the iPhone. None of these are DSLR photos. They're all.
Yeah, I remember that
iPhone
shot over
photos.
there to the right with the vessel.
Yeah, we
there.
were in
the vessel.
Yeah.
In
Hey,
New York.
can I tell you something terrible about the vessel? Did you hear about this?
I haven't heard anything. I mean, I haven't heard anything terrible about
So
it.
people are jumping off it.
Oh,
So
is
many
terrible.
people are committing suicide by jumping off the vessel that they are no longer allowing individual people to go in the vessel. You have to go in a group.
Wow,
Isn't that awful?
that's awful.
That's awful that you've got a attraction that you're like so many people want to kill themselves that you're only allowed in groups of like 2 or 3 or more.
That's
It's horrible.
terrible.
Anyway, so that's the housekeeping stuff. If you want to go to the iPhone photography conference, go to Kelby One Live and click up at the top. I think there's a little thing that says, iPhone conference. So that's coming. Register early. You can save some money if you register now. So register now.
Boom.
All right. So Jefferson, I'm going to turn the mic over to you and tell us the story. Now I've read about it. I've seen a picture, but I want to hear the story
Yes,
from
let's
you.
set the
So
scene.
tell us what happened.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm excited to be one of your instructors at the iPhone photography conference. So thanks for inviting me. And had I been shooting on an iPhone that day, I wouldn't have lost my gear. Right?
Right.
Maybe.
Okay, so anyway, so what happened? I was shooting. I'm shooting a class for you guys on photographing San Francisco, and I was doing my last setup of the day. This was Golden Gate Bridge Day, and I went to every location in the area. This was like the 5th or 6th of the day. My wife was with me, and she says, "I want to go home to the hotel." I said, "No, just one more shot. Just one more shot." So I set up the tripod in a park called Chrissy Park, and my fatal mistake was that I wanted to have the 7200 2.8 lens to blur the background. So what happens when you're recording yourself and the camera's on a tripod and you have a 7200? Well, then you're standing far away from the camera. That's mistake number one. Mistake number two, the tripod was near the curb. Even though I was in a park, there was an area that you could drive up to that had picnic tables. So I'm talking to the camera. San Francisco is one of the greatest places in the world. You're going to love it. And there's so many great places to photograph. And then I look and I see this kid running at me with a big smile on his face. He grabs the tripod and the camera, seemingly in like a second, and then hauls it into the getaway car, which is waiting for him, and they dash away. Somehow, this is all like 2 seconds. Somehow, 2 people are taking pictures of this and capture the license plate. But it all happened so fast. I'm still in a little bit of a shock over it. And I called the police. It turned out to be the park police, not the San Francisco Police Department. It's with the field that I was in is part of the National Park Service, so I got the U.S. Park Police, who basically said, we're never going to catch them, and even if we did, they'd be let out that day. And go ahead, give me your information. All right. Oh, good. You got the license plate. Great. I'll let you know if I ever hear anything. And that's my story. So
Wow.
2 fatal mistakes: big lens and wrong position.
So what you're saying, what I'm getting from this, Jefferson, is that we can go and steal people's stuff without worrying about the police because they don't really care.
They don't. They seemingly don't care.
They're just like
in San Francisco, but I could be wrong. I know what my experience was, and then I started looking up camera theft in San Francisco, and they were way worse than what I experienced. Let me tell the two stories.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, there's an area called Twin Peaks, which gives you a big overlook of the city. It's one of the best skylines. And the local CBS affiliate was up there doing a story about about thefts up at Twin Peaks. And as he was doing the story, thugs came up and stole his camera, and it was a lot bigger than mine.
Wow.
It was a broadcast camera.
Yeah, so that's a big like ENG broadcast camera.
Yes.
no.
So there's that one, and there's weapons involved, which I didn't experience. And then the worst one. This is every person who watches the grid. This is their nightmare. They're They're in traffic, waiting for the light to change, and as the light doesn't change yet, thugs get out and smash the rear window of the hatchback, steal the camera bag, and then drive away.
Oh.
And this was caught on a Tesla dash cam.
Oh.
So everybody saw it. And so how did that happen? How did they know that it was a camera bag? That was what was really bothering me, right? I mean, my camera bag looks like a piece of luggage. I don't know about yours, but it doesn't scream camera bag. Well, it turned out they were on a shoot earlier and they were tailed. Yeah. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So let me roll into tip number 1, which is hide your camera bag in the car and make it hard to do something like that. Put it on the floor. Cover it with blankets. Put all sorts of junk all over it. I mean, that's what I would do. First of all, I wouldn't drive a hatchback because of this. It's been my fear all these years. But if you're going to drive a hatchback, really cover that thing up.
Yeah, holy cow! You know, when I'm traveling and I rent a car, and they want to give me either an SUV or a hatchback, I tell them no. I want something with a sealed trunk.
Yeah, where you can't see into it.
But even at that, you know, somebody was telling me, and this is a first person story, and I wish I could tell you who it was. Him and a buddy, he flew into his friend's town. Him and a buddy got in his buddy's car. They went and they put the gear in the trunk. They drove to a restaurant to get like burgers and stuff. And they go into the restaurant. Someone went, opened the trunk, broke into the trunk, and took all their gear. Like somebody must have followed them from the airport and says wherever they stop.
Right.
That's what people all
do.
Of their stuff.
Yeah.
Took all of their stuff. It was stunning.
Yeah, that's what some people do.
All right. Wow.
Well, and I think that's one of the things here is, and I think this is going to be a theme of the whole show when we're talking about this is, from what I've never personally experienced it, luckily, but what I have heard and seen is it's about the word opportunity, right? And trying to lessen the opportunities for somebody to see your gear, to know you have expensive camera gear, downplaying that, like Jefferson's talking about, like even when you're carrying it around, making it look inconspicuous. That it really is a lot of times about opportunity and making it where it isn't easy. My
tripod was opportunity.
Yeah.
I was far away from the camera.
Exactly.
Now, what if I had shot it on a pancake lens? Then I'd be right in front of it, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well,
and what if I had gone into the middle of the field where there was you couldn't pull up?
Yeah. It's all those things start running through your head, I'm sure.
Hey, so you know what happened to Dave Black? Do you know Dave Black, Jefferson?
I know the name. He's
very famous for sports photographer. He's the Kelby 1 instructor, just a super guy. He went down to Brazil for the Olympics, so not long ago, right?
Yeah, Rio.
He went down to Rio. And he's shooting. He's got his lens there. He's right beside him and stuff. Looks over. His lens is gone. And he freaks out. He looks and he sees a guy with his lens cruising around the stadium. And he was able to catch up with the guy and make the guy give the lens back. But I could see Dave.
Because it was a huge lens, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was a big, a 400.
Yeah.
Like a $12,000 lens. and he was able to catch up with the guy. And force the guy to give it back. Dave's tall. He's very tall and menacing. If you take his lens, he's the nicest guy in the world until you take his lens, and then he's menacing. All right. Hey, we're going to take a short pause. When we come back, we've got some more stories. We've got some ways for you to not get your gear ripped off. I've got I have a horrible story when we get back. So stick around for more horrible stories.
I'm Jefferson Graham. I'm a Los Angeles writer-photographer, a former USA Today tech columnist, and I've got a great new class for you on Kelby One.
I'll show you where all the best spots are to get your iconic LA shots so you won't be scrambling to find them when you get here. We'll cover epic travel and street photography, awesome sunsets, do some time lapses and panoramas, and I'll show you how to get amazing photos of the city that, of course, gave birth to the motion picture industry. Then we'll look up at the amazing palm trees of Beverly Hills 90210, catch the top spots for the LA skyline, movie locations, a killer freeway shot, and of course, we'll be ending at the beach for what I hope will be a memorable sunset.
Ready to get started? We're in LA, the birthplace of the movies, so you know what they say. Action!
For over 20 years, leading software developer Boris FX has made its mark on the film and television industry. Now, for the first time, our Academy and Emmy Award-winning visual effects tools are available for photographers. Welcome to Optics. Optics is a collection of 160 filters for Photoshop and Lightroom. Simply apply the effect and launch the interface. Optics features thousands of customizable and creative presets for photo editing and effects layering. Top tools include lens flares for cinematic looks, realistic night skies with star fields and moon generator, add lightning with on-screen interactive control. The Easy Mask tool creates masks with just a few clicks. Optics is available now as a plugin for Photoshop and Lightroom and includes the standalone application for Mac OS and Windows. Get Optics now for 15% off. Visit borisfx.com, add Optics to your cart, and apply coupon code KELBY15.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Hey, we're back. Scott's here with Mr. Kuna, and our special guest, Jefferson Graham, is joining us live from out in California. So Erik just mentioned something. Erik, as you know, carries the world's largest backpack. And Erik knows that there is no one that could possibly carry his backpack. No thief could jump out of any movie vehicle and grab that. They'd be like, "Yeah,
They think I'm just going like hiking in the back of the.
Yeah, they would lift it and just put it back down and say, "It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth a lifetime of back problems." And they would just walk away. So that's it.
Hey, let me defend San Francisco for one quick second,
Please
okay?
do.
Because yes, there is a lot of crime. It is the most beautiful city in the United States, as far as I'm concerned. And I
agree.
I really
agree.
believe that.
It's
I agree.
second, but I agree.
What's more beautiful than San Francisco?
I just love New York.
It's
Yeah,
more
what are you gonna
beautiful.
pick? Well, New York is
Beautiful?
great, but it doesn't have the
Yes.
natural beauty.
It doesn't have the beauty.
Well,
Yeah.
it has certain beauties, yes.
I mean, it has.
Okay, they're one and
man-made.
two.
Okay,
you
they're
can
both
interchange
great.
them.
They're both great. Okay, they're both great, and I grew up in New York. Okay, and San Francisco, I also lived in for several years. We have a class coming up about photographing San Francisco, and it's one wow after the next. I went everywhere. Okay, I went everywhere. I went every Golden Gate location. I went Twin Peaks. I went Haight. I went Castro. I went Fisherman's Wharf. I went Embarcadero. I had no trouble when I was shooting. Okay, and I shot over 5 days. No trouble whatsoever. I screwed up at Chrissy Field. And I take that on myself for having too big of a camera, and I was too far away from it. Common sense, you're going to be okay. Now, the situation with things getting stolen out of cars is another story. But as far as walking the streets of San Francisco, I had no trouble.
All right. Yeah, and in most cases you won't, obviously. You know, but also it does help to go with groups. Now, if someone pulls up with a gun, doesn't matter how many people you have. If they have a gun, you know, and that's why how some people have been ripped off. A guy was shooting at dawn at what is the overlook that overlooks the city from the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge. So from the side
Called Vista Point. Vista
yeah.
Point.
So this photographer was shooting at Vista Point at dawn, and then sure enough, a guy comes out with a gun, took not only the gear that he was shooting with right there, but went to his car, took all of his gear. It was $25,000 total because he had everything. It was a horrible story. I want to say it was Rob Galbraith this happened to, but I'm not 100% sure. It may not have been Rob, but maybe I read it on his site. But anyway, it was that's horrible. But I have a weirder ripoff thing that I want you to hear about that is horrible. Horrible. So this just happened. Just read this weekend. This is a brand new story. So photographer, I don't know where they're at, living somewhere, decides to order a brand new Sony mirrorless. And orders a Sony mirrorless. And I think they actually ordered two, like one for him and one for his wife.
They didn't have to send money orders somewhere, did they?
They bought it at Amazon.
Oh, okay.
They bought it on Amazon.
So they bought it on Amazon.
The box arrives, Amazon box, big smiley face. They open it up. There's two camera boxes, both of them completely empty. Empty. Like you ordered it off of Amazon, and there. So, of course, the guy calls up Amazon. Hey,
yeah, you would think you get an empty box, so the first thing you're gonna call up and be like, "Hey, I didn't get a camera."
So they call Amazon, and they say, "Hey, we ordered this thing, and there's an empty boxes." You know what Amazon said? "Sorry, can't help you." And the guy's like, "What do you mean you can't help me?" "Sorry, we show it was sent, so you're out of luck." And the guy's like, "What do you mean I'm out of luck?" Well, he starts arguing, and they go, "Hey, look, we're not able to do anything. We're not going to do anything, and I am disconnecting this call." And they hung up on him.
I will say that's very odd for Amazon because I've actually had this happen to me on Amazon, and Amazon was like very quick to just like go, "I'll ship you out something else."
I bet it wasn't $7,000.
But that's the thing is,
so it was $7,000 worth of gear. So here's what happened though. So then
we actually figured out it was kids stealing stuff off the front porch. But anyway.
So then they call the credit card company, and the credit card company says, "Well, we'll look into it and all," but there's no fast resolution. They're out $7,000 and they have nothing but two empty boxes. Here's how they finally cracked the case and got Amazon. After calling out Jeff Bezos directly on Twitter and complaining to everybody they could at Amazon.
Which that sometimes does work.
It sometimes does work. But here's what they actually finally did give them the money back. But here's what it was. They had the shipping box, and on the shipping box, the Amazon box, was the weight. And the weight was only 2 pounds.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go.
And they were able to show the original shipping later and go, these two cameras together in their box weigh 2.5 times this or whatever.
Yeah.
So if this was really full of cameras from the factory, so it's like somebody at the factory, somebody at Amazon had to take those cameras out. Like somebody who packed it at an Amazon and Amazon gave them the $7,000 back. But dude, what if they hadn't noticed that? That was the fact that they thought to look at the weight of the package. That was pretty clever.
Yeah.
But what if they hadn't thought of that? I mean, so listen, Terry White, my buddy, Terry's been ripped off so many times on eBay that he will simply not use eBay anymore.
Yeah.
He just
Well, you had one too that almost happened to you.
Oh yeah, I almost got ripped off on eBay. I told that story on the grid. But Terry, let me tell you what happened to Terry. Terry's was horrible. So Terry sells an iPhone. So this is Terry's MO, Jefferson. Whenever a new iPhone comes out, Terry buys it the day it comes out. And as soon as it comes in, he sells his other one. Because right at that point, there's still some decent, you can still get some good money. 3 or 4 weeks later, nobody wants your old phone, but right then he can get it. So he sells this person, he puts a thing out there, someone buys it at the asked for price, and they buy it. But here's where he got hosed. Jefferson, you know how you pointed out, my mistake was putting the camera right at the curb and being far away from it. Terry's was, they said, "Oh, can you ship it to this address instead of the address on my account?"
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Step one,
Don't do
never ship to another address that is not the address on your account. Because she gave that story, "Oh, it's for my brother and he lives in wherever, and can you ship it to him," and all that kind of crap. Terry did it. So the woman goes back to eBay and says, "Hey, I got the phone, but look at it." And she holds up a phone and it's all scratched and destroyed and broken. And Terry's like, "That is not the phone that I sent." That's like you took a broken phone and just stuck it up there and said that's it.
Right.
It's the same brand of phone, like an iPhone 10 or whatever, but that's not it. And they're like, nope. And guess what? Amazon sided with her, refunded her money, and Terry's camera's gone.
Wow.
And it's just a scam. She had a broken phone already.
See, but this is why, I mean, I'll just be, I've heard all these stories over the last few years, and this is why, and this is just me with used camera gear, I go to places like KEH, MVP, even I've sold to B&H used department, I bought and sold on there because I can trust those places. Like that.
Yeah, and why not
I do
have
lose.
Terry...
I do lose about 10% doing that. Like I could probably go on eBay and get like 7 to 10% more.
Yep.
But I'm like, I'm not doing it. It's not worth the risk.
Yeah, you're holding your breath.
You know, when the iPhone 13 comes out, why can't Terry just sell the 12 to Apple and trade it in as part of his purchase price?
I'm sure he could, but he probably gets more money from selling it to an individual.
Well, it didn't work out that well, did it?
No, it worked out very poorly. It was awful. So I didn't get ripped off this week, but let me tell you something happened to me. So I sell occasionally a guitar to buy another guitar. I'll go to my wife and go, honey, I want to buy a guitar, but I'm willing to sell this guitar to get that guitar. Because I guess I had an issue with it for a while. Where I bought too many guitars.
Oh, no.
And my wife
you don't have an issue with it at all.
She never said anything, but it's just at some point I realized I just had a problem. So I wanted to sell this guitar. So it was a baby blue PRS, but not an expensive one. So I took pictures of it all with my iPhone, and the pictures came out great. I mean, the pictures looked like you shot them with a DSLR. You would never know. And normally I'd pull out my DSLR and stuff, but if you've got good light, and I had some, overhang or put it outside under an overhang, and the light was perfect and soft, and they look great. They look like you couldn't make them look any better with a DSLR than they did with the iPhone. So I always put lots of photos. I put every angle of the guitar, top, bottom, neck, bridge, everything up close. And it's sold within an hour of me putting it up to a guitar store. So the guy, said, hey, great, it's done. And I always sell my stuff at a price that moves. I don't try to get crazy money. I'm just like, I just want this out of my life. Get rid of this guitar quick. The guy contacts me about a week later and says, hey, take a look at your guitar. And there's a huge ding on the neck. I mean, on the headstock. There's like a chunk taken out of it. Now, Jefferson, I shipped it in a soft case. So it went in an actual PRS case. It was shipped from our offices, and the guy that packs it up for me does an immaculate job. I mean, I've never had anybody say anything ever, not once. And he sends me a picture of that guitar, and it's got this big ding on it. I sent him back the original. Nope, here's what I shipped. And he's like, yeah, it's terrible, but now it's not in mint condition like you said. I had to give him $75 back. Now, and so my buddy says, how do you know he just didn't take another guitar store? He just went and took another one and go, this one's dinged. I don't. But, I don't. It happened, and I feel bad.
It's happening more and more and more with that stuff. Yeah.
I have a moral here. Okay. Why sell the guitar in the first place? Put it on the wall, man.
Okay,
you would have been happier
full.
Having it stay there.
Jefferson, every wall that I have is a pack. I have like 43 guitars. At some point, you don't have.
He is right. He is right.
I'm not making that number up. I'm not just pulling a number out of a hat. It's like 43 guitars, and so
we've been trying to get him help.
I don't sell guitars. I don't sell guitars. I don't sell cameras. I don't sell lenses because I could always use them sometime.
Yeah, but if I want different guitars, like I want to get this other guitar, then I sell one of my guitars. I've sold like 29 guitars on Reverb.com, and Reverb.com is great. It's like so much better than it's actually owned. I didn't know this, by the Chicago Music Exchange. Nobody really watching this cares but me and Jefferson. But anyway,
we got to take a break.
Let's do that. Let's take a break.
When we come back, though, I do want to ask Jefferson a question.
Aha! All right, stick around. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Rami, and I have a brand new class for you in Kelby 1. And this time is going to be about panoramas, specifically handheld panoramas. Sometimes to show the entire scene making a panorama is the only way that you can convey the beauty of the place. You're gonna know exactly what I did from start to finish, how to take the photograph, how to overlap it, how to stitch it, what your settings should be, and last but not least, how to edit and bring that photograph back to life. So this is what we're going to be talking about, and this is what we're going to be doing. Not only that, I'm going to give you all the files that I have taken so you can actually follow along. By the end of this class, you are going to be able to go out there and take those epic, massive panoramas and bring them to life just like I did over here. Come and join me on my latest class exclusively on Kelby1.com.
Hi, I'm Maribel, and I'm so proud to bring to you my first Kelby 1 class. I'm going to help you make your images really stand out. How? By using everyday materials in a creative way. We're also going to discuss how I tap into my creative team, leaning into friends, family, and other creatives to help you bring your vision to life. That'll open up floodgates of other possibilities for you. I'm going to teach you how you can create a really couture Hollywood avant-garde dress that's not necessarily bought, but created at home, yet has the same visual impact as a really expensive Hollywood gown. It's all about teamwork. Guys, we're not gonna just take a photo, we're making a photo. If you want to learn how to make creative portraits out of everyday material, come watch my class at Kelby1.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
Hey, we are back. Scott's here, Eric's here. We have Jefferson beaming in live via satellite from Honolulu.
Yeah, via satellite.
That's
Straight
actually
uplink.
Los Angeles. All right, so Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Kuna
Yeah, I got a question.
has a 60-minute style question.
I got a 60 minutes question. Yeah.
Ooh,
I don't really
okay.
know that. I'm just setting him up.
I've heard, like I said, I can't personally speak to these experiences. I haven't had it happen to me. However, I've heard a lot of this stuff. So one of the things that I am very paranoid, because like it would definitely pain me and upset me to lose my backpack or to lose my gear or anything like that. But the one thing that would pain me more than anything would be losing the images I just made, especially if I was on a trip or like you were. So did you lose a lot from that? Or what is, I guess what it's saying is, because like my backup routine is kind of like almost militant, where it's like, back up to this location, pull the cards out of, like the cards come with me, it never gets checked, they separate from the camera. Like what happened in your case? Did you just lose the cards or?
Yeah. But I had done backup that morning in the hotel room of everything from the week. And then I had done most of the shooting on another camera that day because, as I said, Golden Gate Bridge, I was using the wide angle lens because I'm not shooting at the Golden Gate Bridge with the 7200, right? And so I was just using the other camera. So I lost some shots, but I didn't lose the day. And I lost anything that I was doing at Christie Field where I was talking to the camera.
So what is kind of your backup routine there? What's kind of your backup routine? Yeah, like
what's my backup?
Like, would you like you said you did that for the whole week? Just happened to do that this morning, or do you do it every day? Do you back up every day? I don't do it every
day. It sort of depends. I think I will now, but what I really like to do is back up and then upload from the hotel room. But the problem is I can never get an internet signal that is good enough that doesn't break, and then I only end up putting a few files up, which is what happened. I kept trying every night to upload to Google Drive, and it just wasn't happening. So I just said, well, I'll just, I'll do it when I get home, and then I've got stuff on the hard drive and then on the cards. I would never clear a card while I was out on a shoot. Right?
Right. Absolutely. Well, and I asked that because that's what I think with this whole thing, that I've definitely seen a lot more pain with people because they don't go through the process that you just described. Because I know Scott, and when we travel, we're very similar, like the same almost the same as what you're describing there, where every day it is a back up the cards, and then it is those cards go off to the side, and those are going to be stored, and then that's on a hard drive. So I've got it on a hard drive, I've got it on the cards, I've got those separate, those aren't going in the same place. You know, Scott, I think you're very, very similar on that with backing up, right?
I'm ridiculous about backing up.
Yeah.
I'm always worried about backing up. I never erase a card. I don't erase a card on a trip.
Yeah,
so if
me
I'm,
never,
if I'm
me
on a
neither,
trip,
never.
I keep all of my cards, and I don't go back and re-erase or anything. I basically put that card away for the day, but not until I have 1 or 2 backups. And then I like to take the pics, like Jefferson said, you go back to the hotel room, I go through Lightroom and I just make my pics and I upload those to iCloud. So I know.
Yeah, well, the problem, Scott, is that this is video, and I shot 100 gigabytes of video over 4 days. That's the problem.
Yeah. But that's
The
definitely
photos are
why
fine.
you want to have some kind of portable backup solution where you can back up to a hard drive, you can have it on the cards. Cards are fairly cheap.
Oh, and that's what it took with me when I went with you to Austria.
Yeah.
So Erik and I went, a bunch of friends, we all went to Austria a couple years ago. I think it was 2019?
Yeah, 19, yeah.
2019. I took a portable hard drive that has an SD slot on it.
Oh, I
and all
remember
you
that,
would do
yeah.
is you put the card in and hit go, and it takes whatever's on that card and backs it up to the portable drive. You don't have to connect it to your computer. You don't have to, it's no connection. It's literally just a battery-powered hard drive. Put your SD in it, and it writes whatever's on the card. And so every night I'd go back to the room. And the hard thing is like I remember being in Iceland with my buddy Terry White, and he and I were together on a trip there. And like Terry was we were both so tired. At the end of the day, because we'd been shooting at dawn, you're shooting at dusk, and you're going to dinner, and then you're going back out shooting again. We were exhausted, and we were in this hotel in the middle of nowhere, Iceland. And Terry's like, I can't back up. I'm like, you must back up. And he's like, dude, how are you staying awake? And I'm like, I don't go to sleep until I'm backed up. I was exhausted too. I was having that moment where you're like, do I really need to back up? What if I do it in the morning when I wake up? But no, you got to get in a routine of backing up. Backing up is a routine, and you got to get into it.
Yeah, because that's what
Let me ask you guys something. Most cameras now, most DSLRs have slots for 2 SD cards or different kind of cards, and I have not. I always have 2 cards in there, but I have the extra card there if I run out of room. I haven't done where you shoot everything on both cards simultaneously. Do you guys do that?
Yes. Yeah, I used to. For football, I would have it to overflow. Like if I ran out of one card, because I want to be in the middle of a great play and all of a sudden it's like card full, I would have it go over. Outside of that, I have it right to 2 simultaneous cards. But I've just recently had a camera again with 2 slots.
Yeah. I do the same. I write to both slots and definitely when it's on a job. Well, like if I'm covering an event, it's always right into 2 slots.
Well, also every once in a while.
And then what happens, I'm pulling out that one card and keeping the other one there. So like the information is in 2 places.
2 places.
Before I even back it up.
Every once in a while, though, you'll have a card go bad. It's rare. And I've never had a card that I couldn't get recovered.
Okay, can I give you a story?
Oh,
I have a story
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah,
okay, so after I lost my footage, I had to go out that night and reshoot, the intro and some other things that I was doing, and set it for twilight. Found the most beautiful ferry pier in San Francisco that lights up at 8 o'clock, and I'm in the middle. It was like the perfect shot. I was like so happy with it. And then I came back to the room and I put the card in, and there was nothing in it. And I said, well, it's impossible because I saw the stuff on the camera. It's impossible that I didn't have it. So then I started buying this recovery program and that recovery program. Nothing worked. And I heard from a friend of mine, Robert Hanashiro, who works at USA Today, who told me that Sony cameras, because I shoot on Sony, has its own proprietary recovery program. And it only works for Sony files. So none of the other programs will work with Sony files. So I got the program and I got the files back. Now, it took me 3 days, but I got the files back.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that.
I did not know that.
I had never heard that either.
Yeah.
Wild stuff. You're lucky your friend knew that. I had never heard that.
Yeah, I've never heard that either.
Of course, we don't shoot Sony, so for us, we wouldn't. Maybe we would never hear that.
And that's what there's some comments here. You had Sandy McCurdy saying, I always upload to a laptop, then to 2 external drives, and then I do clear the cards and keep using them.
Yeah, but Sandy's got.
If you've got multiple backups and you're comfortable with it, delete the cards. I mean, I tend to carry more cards and less drives until I get back home. That's just me.
Well, I am just a full disclaimer. I'm a Lexar Elite photographer, so I'm sponsored by an evangelist for Lexar. I've got a lot of memory cards.
Right.
I got memory cards coming out my ears. So I never. But what Sandy's doing is the right.
That's the right thing.
That's
the
recommended thing that she's doing.
Yeah.
She uploads them to their laptop. She's got 2 backups. The Sandy's on the
now. What you do have to do is make sure that those backups and all that aren't in one central location to where if somebody's going to grab your bag. Like one of the things that like Deb Usilka's saying here is the cards are never kept in my camera bag. They're always tethered to me in my pocket. So that's another thing, is putting it somewhere where you have it on you.
That's good and bad, because they could fall out of your pocket.
Yes.
Not Deb's pockets. They're deep, deep pockets. Hi, Deb, by the way. I just want to give a hug to Deb. So Deb's,
and then look at Rick Salmon saying someone at the Chicago Photo Walk had their bag stolen when he put it down. He was wearing a big name tag with the name of the event on the tag. My advice, always put your bag down between your legs and don't wear a big name tag.
Hi, Rick Salmon. Ricky. Yes. All right, it is time for a break. We're going to take a short break. We got some more comments coming in from you guys, so thank you very much. Also, to win any of the prizes today, which we are giving away a Platypod Ultra, we're giving away a copy of my iPhone photography book and the awesome Boris Effects plugin for Lightroom and Photoshop. If you want to win one of those, just drop us a comment. So the way to enter the contest is to drop a comment into the comments and just tell us, this is important, tell us what you want to win. So say, I want to win the Platypod, I want to win the iPhone book, I want to win the plug-in, and that way when we choose names, we'll get you the right thing. So we're going to be giving those away in like 10 minutes or 15 minutes or an hour and 20 minutes. No, very shortly. Stick around. We'll be right back with Jefferson Graham with us as our guest. Don't go away.
Hey, I'm Jeff Leinbach here. I'm bringing you a new class. I had so much fun doing what to shoot when there's nothing to shoot here on Kelby 1 that I decided to expand it, give you what to shoot to. So in this class, there's more places to shoot, more ideas, more photo helps, more self-assignments. We're going to show you ways to work a scene, to get something that's extraordinary from an ordinary image. We're also going to show you that the world's happening all around you, 360 degrees. Things are happening above you, below you, beside you, in front of you, behind you. You need to look in all directions to capture good photographs because they're everywhere. We're going to show you ways to bring more life into your images by simply just twisting your camera a little bit. We call it being tilted. It's okay to be tilted once in a while if you're going to get more dynamic images from it. It's all about more. So just to give you more ideas to motivate you to get out and photograph. Join me on my latest class at kelby1.com.
Would you believe us if we told you that you could fit studio lighting in your pocket? Well, Lytra has made it possible. Lytra is a global award-winning brand that designs and manufactures professional-grade camera lights that are compact, rugged, and waterproof. Whether you're using Lytra gear in a photo studio or underwater, Lytra's mission is to provide content creators with flexible and unlimited lighting tools that can mount on any camera, anywhere. Their lights come with a high CRI or color rendering index, making them some of the most color accurate lights in the industry. Due to the light's compact and rugged design, photographers are able to use the lights in ways that their studio lighting never could. Lytra has also made multiple lighting accessories available to fit your every need as a creator. Whether you're shooting portraits, nailing a product shot, or even flying your drone, they have got you covered. Lytra enables photographers and filmmakers to focus on their craft and create something beautiful. What will you create?
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
Make sure you don't miss any episodes of The Grid by subscribing to Apple's podcast app or iTunes. It's free, and we even have a special audio-only version too. So sign up today.
Hey, we're back. Scott's here, Eric's here, and Jefferson Graham is joining us live from Los Angeles, or the greater Los Angeles area. All right, so Erik, you said you
well, I got something for you, Jefferson, on the same. So following up from the last one, what about? Do you have any tips like what happened as far as the gear? Like, do you have insurance? What's the process there?
Yeah. Okay, so I do have a business insurance policy for my photography business. When I had a theft 10 years ago, the previous insurance company wouldn't cover it. It was Farmers, and they said, that's personal, not business. So I switched to State Farm. I got a business policy. They've been fantastic. I don't have a resolution to give you, but they said there's not going to be a problem. We'll see what I end up getting. But so far, they've been great. And I would recommend anybody who's got a photo business to get their gear insured.
Is there anything else that you'd recommend, tips that you give people, registering your gear, serial numbers, that kind of stuff?
Okay, the first thing is write the serial number down, right? I'm just like, it doesn't hurt to have the serial number that you can then give to eBay and say, you shouldn't be selling this, right? So it doesn't take very long to go do itemized of all your gear and write down the serial number and then register that with your insurance company as well. Know where your receipts are. I had to go digging through my receipts. Luckily, B&H has been fantastic, and Amazon as well. And when you buy something, you just look it up and there it is, and you're not hunting through papers like we used to. So, have the receipts, know where they are. A few other things that people mention on Twitter. John Duke said, put gaffer tape over the camera name so that the thieves won't know what you're shooting on. It wouldn't hurt, right? Wouldn't hurt. What about putting a alarm in your bag? Tool guard is one of them, and there are others. There's also a bicycle lock that vibrates if somebody tries to take it and starts screaming. There's multiple ones of those on Amazon, so that's something to think about.
$7.29. How do you beat that?
Right. That's the one. Yes.
Now, for years, I've had a Tile, which is like Apple's tags. Tile, and I gave up on Tile because they were too expensive, and they don't like Apple's new tags.
Well, that's basically Apple's tags is kind of what Tile was supposed to be, right?
Right, and Apple's
Tile stops working. It just stops.
Yes, it does. Right. The batteries die, and you have to replace the entire thing.
Right. Apple AirTags have been great for me so far, but had I put the AirTag on the tripod, trust me, they would have taken it off immediately.
Right, you got to hide it. You have to hide. So I would do that. I would hide my tiles in bags where nobody would find it. But with the Tile, you have to be like standing beside them. Like you have to be like right there. Like, okay, you've got my thing.
Yeah, but with the AirTags, if the thieves had iPhones, then that would go into the network, and that would help us find it.
Even if they didn't have iPhones, if people around that tag had iPhones, like you could be in an airport. That's one place I always worry about getting my stuff ripped off is an airport. Like you're walking around with a camera bag. It's obviously a camera bag. It's a big think tank bag. I'm always worried about. I'm also worried about it on a plane. I've heard of people losing like a laptop on a plane. Like they go up there and their bag is gone.
Now, Think Tank has a bag with a coated cable that can't be cut.
Yeah, I've got
that. You could attach that to your tripod, to your leg, to something.
Yep, there it is. That's the one I have right there.
Yeah, so that's a good idea. And Mark Homan, who runs the Paul's Photo Camera Store out here in LA, suggests that you should never open your camera bag when you're in public. You should pull your camera out, have it in the car, ready for the shoot, but you do not open your camera bag and let people know what's in it.
Yeah, I don't want to.
What do you think about that, Erik?
I don't want to see people in the trunk.
Well, I'll be honest. Most of the time I'm shooting, I'm more concerned about animals than people. I mean, for me,
he's shooting in the middle of nowhere, Jefferson.
But
he's like
when we are shooting, we like Scott and I, when we go travel, we'll go out for like he was talking about, we'll go to Austria or something. Like when we left the hotel, the backpack didn't come with me because I am like light and nimble, and I got all the stuff with me. If we're going out to we went out to go shoot a waterfall, the tripod and the backpack come with me. But I totally agree with that tip. When you're in big crowded places and in a city, like The other one that's really good is you have a really good bag, like that sling bag, where you can kind of bring it around you, and you're not really having to open it up and kind of expose everything you got. You can kind of like pull that thing around, open up, get your lens out that you want, switch it, and people don't really see. So it's that being inconspicuous and not giving that opportunity to just see all your gear.
Yeah.
And the flip side. Go ahead, Scott.
Oh, I was just going to ask you something, Jefferson. Go ahead. So just say what you're going to say, and then I'm going to ask you.
The flip side is in plugging the upcoming iPhone photography conference. I just shot a complete 30-minute episode of my Photo Walk series, which streams for free on Tubi, in Zion National Park on the iPhone. I did every shot on it. I didn't have to worry about hauling gear on these big hikes, and I don't know what you guys know about the Narrows. The Narrows is a hike in Zion National Park that you go waist deep in the water. And I shot it in the Narrows, and it was so great because I could dunk the camera into the water and get some of those great running water shots because the iPhone is water resistant.
Wow.
And you can shoot long exposures without an ND filter.
It's true.
Right.
All right, so Jefferson, I have a question. This is unrelated to what we're talking about, but it's still a photography topic. What's going on with Google Photos? So a lot of people rely on Google Photos, and recently they had some surprising news.
Okay, so Google Photos 5 years ago launched as the unlimited free uploads. Now, your photos will be lowered resolution, but they look great. For 5 years, I assume most of the viewers today have been using Google Photos because it was free, and the search was so damn good, so much better than anywhere else, I think. And Google says they're not making enough money. I mean, they only reported revenues of $55 billion in the last quarter.
Yeah,
so they're going to have a $200 billion year, and they're not making enough money. So they decided they're going to have to charge. But you can't really figure out what the charges is because 100 gigs is only $2, and 200 gigs is $3, and 2 terabytes is $10. But your storage also includes your Gmail and your documents, and it all goes together. I have 42 gigabytes of Gmail because I've been a Gmail user since day one, and I don't have a year or two to clear out the inbox, which is what it would take. So it all goes in there. And at first I said, I'm never going to pay. I'll never pay for this. And then I realized I use Google Photos every day, all day, for doing simple searches because they can figure out what's like in the photo, which nobody else can figure out because unless you title or caption every photo, you ain't going to find it.
Now, Apple does that as well. If you go, you know who else does it? Apple does it and Adobe does it. So if you go on your iPhone and you go to the search and you type guitar, it will bring up every guitar photo and 4 or 5 photos that have no guitars in them that are just awkward and weird. But they do a search,
but it's pretty good.
an AI search, but it is pretty darn good. Go to your iPhone, go to search, type in a word, type in people, type in, whatever, type in a food, and it'll bring up every food shot. Same thing with, now, here's where it's in Lightroom. This is weird. So in Lightroom, it is in Lightroom Cloud version. So it's in the cloud version of Lightroom. But if you're a Lightroom Classic user, you can still use it, but you have to use it from a web browser. So what you do is you go to lightroom.adobe.com, sign in with your stuff, and any synced catalogs you have there, you can search them by using the, guitar, and here comes all your guitar photos. Car, here comes all your car photos. So it's available to Lightroom Classic users, but through a web browser, and it's built into the Lightroom Cloud version.
Let me ask Mr. Lightroom a question here. Okay, so I shot 1,000 photos of San Francisco when I was out there, right? And I import them into Lightroom, and I change the file name when I'm importing to San Francisco 2021. Yes. And the folder is called San Francisco. But within that folder are pictures of Crissy Fields and Twin Peaks and Pier 5 and the Golden Gate Bridge, etc. Are you, Scott, going to go in there and are you going to tag the individual photos?
No, you don't have to tag the photos. So no, I don't keyword at all. I do zero keywording. Now, if I'm shooting for a news organization, when I'm shooting sports or something, I have to keyword. That's the only time I keyword, and I hate it on a level you can't imagine. All of those searches are done visually using AI. So Adobe has a technology called Adobe Sensei. That's the name of the technology.
Right.
And I think they bought a company that did AI is what it is. But anyway, Adobe Sensei looks and recognizes it. Now, I don't know, and I've never tried it, if you could go and say Twin Peaks, and it would go, oh, there's the Twin Peaks. Will Google do that? Does Google know it's Twin Peaks?
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know if I've never tried it. I cannot tell you if Lightroom will do that, but I know that Lightroom recognizes everyday objects. Coffee cup, and here comes all your coffee cup shots, which is, useless.
And am I going to search in Lightroom for this, or am I going to search through, I use Lightroom Classic. Am I going to search in Lightroom Classic or in Lightroom Mobile?
Lightroom Mobile. It's built into Lightroom Mobile. So just go to Lightroom on your mobile device and search. But it's, again, remember, Lightroom Mobile only has the collections that you have synced to it.
Right.
So if you want to search through your 1,000 photos from San Francisco, you have to click the little button that says sync this collection with Lightroom Mobile. Then you can search it, no problem. So yeah, it would do it quickly, and you'd have that search. But I don't know. I can't tell you if it's as good as Google's, but I understand. I feel bad for Google. They're in a situation where they have to charge for free stuff. So
yeah, I mean, I know they're hurting.
I feel bad for them. They're hurting. They're messed up. All right.
Yeah, but the flip side, of course, is how much would you pay for Google search? Could you live without Google search?
Dude, I'm on
not just
Google
talking
search.
photos, but for everything.
I would pay for Google search is something I would pay for. I can't live without Google search. I don't use any other search. I cannot remember the last time I searched.
Especially if I didn't have to then get the ads and get manipulated into search.
Yeah, manipulated. So that's the man trying to keep you down, by the way.
Man, trying to keep me down.
All right. So, all right. Well, we're out of time for today's show.
We are.
So, Jefferson, you have classes on Kelby 1. Obviously, you have one coming out on San Francisco that will be briefly interrupted. And then
there'll be a little cut.
You've already got that great class on Los Angeles. And so people can watch your classes. Where can they watch your podcasts? Your podcasts are great. They're really terrific. Where can they find those?
Okay, so the Photo Walk series is on Tubi, which is a streaming service that offers things for free, and you can get that on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, you name it, it's there. I'd also would love for folks to sign up for my newsletter, jeffersongraham.substack.com. Scott's a reader, and you never know what you're going to read there, but I think you'll enjoy it when you get it. And my website is jeffersongraham.net.
The one thing that surprised me about your newsletter was how many cuss words were in it. I mean, really harsh.
Oh, come on.
No,
come
I'm
on.
kidding. I'm
Laden
kidding.
with them, right?
Just, come on. All right. And where else can people just learn more about you? Do you have a
my website, jeffersongraham.net.
Yeah. So he's a Renaissance man. He's a writer. He's a photographer. He's a musician. He's a lover. He drinks wine.
And he's a tubular.
And he's got the best freaking sounding mic. Does his mic sound great?
Yeah.
Just say anything,
Thank
Jefferson.
You. Okay. By the way, if you're in LA, I'm doing a guitar concert at the Aquarium in Manhattan Beach on February 19th.
Really?
Come on down. 3:30 to 6.
On February 19th?
I'm sorry, that would be June.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Man, they booked you way ahead.
June 19th.
June 19th. That is so cool.
June 19th, 2.5 hours.
Oh, man, that's very
That's a long one.
Yeah, but it'll be
luckily,
great.
I have a friend. He's going to be playing with me, so I'm not playing by myself for 2.5 hours.
There you go.
So what does your friend play?
He's playing guitar as well.
Okay, so the two of you are playing guitar. Acoustic guitars?
We'll be plugging in.
Ooh, so... But your finger picking
we're
stuff
playing
is so
jazz.
nice.
We're playing jazz
Yeah,
songs.
his finger picking stuff is just wonderful. It really is. All right.
So so Scott, I'm working on my Under the Sea, my Yellow Submarine, my Octopus's Garden, because we're going to be at the aquarium, right?
Oh.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Yeah, I never thought about that. Theming the playlist to the venue. Very clever. All right, well, Jefferson, thank you for taking the time to join us. We're super glad that you're okay. Of course, that's the most important thing. We can always replace equipment, but we can't replace people. So it's very, very good that you are safe, and thank you for sharing your story with us. When I heard it the other day, I was like,
yeah,
that's just, but you could see it happen.
Oh yeah.
You know, you could just especially that quick. You know, with a young
Yeah.
kid. You know what really got me?
like
The
you-
smile. He's smiling
yeah.
like, no worries. I'm just running towards you. I'm a happy guy. Whoops, your stuff's gone.
Yep.
It was that fast. Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Holy cow. Well, I had a friend that was, a friend's buddy is on a train in like Italy, traveling to and he was really worried about getting his stuff ripped off. He was very, very concerned about it. So he is like got the bag right up and, you know, make sure it's between his legs and all that kind of stuff. They stop at a stop. A guy walks by him, grabs the bag and runs out. The door's closed. His whole camera bag gone in a split second. And it was just like what you're talking about, Jefferson, where it's just in a split second it's gone. He said, I'm just sitting there. And the guy's walking by, people are getting off the train, and literally he waits till the moment before the doors are closed, grabs my bag and jumps out the door. The door's closed and the train drives off. And his friend's stunned. And then my buddy Ted, you know Ted, my editor.
Yeah.
So my editor is going to Barcelona. Now Barcelona, beautiful city. Great food, wonderful architecture, amazing architecture, but it has a reputation for theft, for petty theft. So my friend goes, and I'm like, Ted, dude, you got to be careful when you're there. You got to be careful because pickpockets galore. People take off your stuff. So he's super crazy protective. He and his fiance, which is now his wife, are sitting at an outdoor cafe, and she has her bag wrapped around her chair so nobody can take it. And he says, they're sitting there eating, and a guy comes up and says, do you know where such and such is? And they're like, no, we're not from here. Oh, okay. Walks away. He said, Scott, the guy was there for 2 seconds talking to us, and his buddy grabbed her bag. And we didn't even know it. It happened so fast. They're so good at misdirecting you. And he said, her purse gone in a split second. I'm like, I told you to be careful in Barcelona. He's like, I know. And we thought we were being careful. But you're dealing with people who do this for a living. Like, this is their living. Like
When I was in Barcelona, Scott, do you remember the Canon 20D? Because that's how long ago I was there.
Yeah.
So I had lunch with 2 guys, and we sat down. The 2 of them are on the other side of the table. I sat down and put my 20D next to me, and they were like shocked. But you get your hand on that camera. What are you, out of your mind? You can't leave your camera on the table.
Yeah.
Somebody's just going to come by and take it.
Yeah. A buddy of ours is a cop in London, and he's in the West End. And he says most of his night is basically chasing down stolen iPhones. He said there are organized groups. They come from another country. We won't name the country, but they ship kids into London. And their job is to walk around waiting for someone to put their iPhone on the table. They literally just grab it and run. And he said, people all night long, every night. Every other call is a stolen iPhone here, a stolen iPhone there. And he goes, when you get the kids, all we can do is deport them. Like if we get them, we can deport them. You know what they do? They send a different kid. He goes, it is an organized crime network based on stealing iPhones in London.
Wow.
With summer travel, something to keep in mind, we are all going to go to places and somebody's going to come up to us and say, hey, do you want me to take the picture of you guys? It'll put you guys together. Here, give me your iPhone, right? I wouldn't do that this year.
No, not this year.
Yeah.
This is the year of stealing stuff. So, Jefferson, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure to have you on here. Thank you for sharing your story. Glad you're okay. Mr. Kuna, as always, it's lovely seeing you. Thanks to my crew here. Thanks to all of our sponsors.
We do have to give away the prizes, though.
Shoot. Let's give away the prizes. I almost forgot.
So we've got Alan Barnes has won Boris FX Optics. Then we got Pat Morgan has won the Platypod Ultra. And then the iPhone book is going to Richard Windsor. So there we go. Just email us over at gridprize@kelby1.com. We'll get you your prize, verify your information, ask you for a money order or something.
Oh, yeah, and then we'll rip you off.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks, everybody. Thank you, Jefferson. Thanks to all of our viewers, and we will catch you next week right here on The Grid. Take care, everybody.